Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at something a little bit stressful, road rage in Ontario.
Yeah.
Got some recent articles that we're going to be looking at from MyChoice and Rates Docia. And I'm really interested to see how all of this connects back to our own driving habits and ultimately our insurance choices.
Yeah, it's funny. This is a topic that we all encounter, we all probably contribute to at times, but we rarely stop to think about the impact it has on not just, our stress levels, but actual safety and financial consequences.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of impact, one stat that really stood out to me was from MyChoice. Road rage-related insurance claims in Ontario have increased by over 9% in the last 5 years. I mean, is it just me, or does that seem like a huge increase in such a short time?
It is a significant jump. And, I think it really highlights how road rage isn't just about a few angry words or gestures. It's about actions that have real consequences, especially when it comes to your insurance. The CEO of MyChoice even pointed out how road rage can lead to accidents and traffic violations, two things that directly impact your insurance premiums.
Yeah, it's not just about losing your cool, it's about potentially losing a lot of money. So where is all of this rage happening? Well, according to the data, Brampton takes the shall we say, top spot for road rage in Ontario. Apparently, over 6% of auto insurance quotes in Brampton have a road rage claim attached. What are your thoughts on why Brampton might have such a high rate of road rage incidents?
That's a good question. There's no simple answer, of course, but it's interesting to think about the factors that might contribute to that. Could it be traffic congestion, the city's layout, the demographics, or even just a certain driving culture that's developed there? It'd be interesting to see further research that digs into the reasons behind these regional differences.
Yeah, it would be. And for those of you listening outside of Brampton, don't think you're off the hook. The other cities in the top 10 are North York, Scarborough, Hamilton, Mississauga, Toronto, London, Etobicoke, Oshawa, and Kitchener. So chances are, no matter where you are driving in Ontario, you've probably encountered some road rage.
And remember, these statistics represent real incidents, some of which can be quite serious.
Speaking of serious incidents, the MyChoice article described a couple that really made me think twice about how quickly things can escalate. One involved a Honda driver who was nearly pushed off a bridge by an enraged driver in a RAV4, all because of a simple light flash. I mean, a bridge that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's a prime example of how a minor annoyance can spiral into a truly dangerous situation in the blink of an eye. I think it's crucial to remember that, when we're behind the wheel, we're not just dealing with traffic. We're dealing with other people's emotions. And sometimes those emotions can be volatile.
Yeah, that's so true. And the other incident that really caught my eye was one on Highway 403, where a driver actually stopped their car in the middle of the highway during a fit of road rage. This caused a multi-car pileup. It's just shocking to me that someone would do something so reckless and dangerous, all because they couldn't control their anger.
Yeah, these extreme cases, while thankfully not the norm, really highlight the potential dangers of road rage. It's not just about fender benders or hurt feelings, it's about putting lives at risk, including your own.
Absolutely, and beyond the safety risks, there's the financial cost of losing your cool. Rates.Dacia points out that being at fault in an accident due to road rage can increase your insurance premiums by 10 to 30%. That's huge.
And if your driving record becomes so tarnished by accidents and violations that you end up in the facility association, which is basically the insurer of last resort, you could be looking at premiums that are $8,000 to $20,000 higher than average.
Wow, those numbers are definitely eye-opening. So knowing all this, what can we do to avoid getting caught in the road rage trap? Any practical tips for staying calm behind the wheel?
That's a great question, and one we can definitely explore further. But first, I'd be curious to hear what comes to mind for you. What are some things you do to stay calm when you're driving?
Honestly, sometimes it is a struggle, especially during rush hour. But I try to remind myself that everyone's just trying to get where they need to go. And getting angry isn't going to help anything. It's like choosing your battles right. Is it really worth getting worked up over someone going a few kilometers over the speed limit? Probably not.
Yeah, that's a really healthy perspective. And you've hit on a key point. It's about shifting your mindset. Instead of seeing other drivers as obstacles, try to see them as well, just other people trying to navigate the same crazy roads as you.
Yeah, I like that. It's like we're all in this together, stuck in traffic together. Misery loves company, as they say. But seriously, beyond the mindset shift, are there any practical tips the police recommend for avoiding road rage situations in the first place?
Absolutely. The police offer some really practical advice that's easy to implement. For example, avoid those last-minute lane changes that can really frustrate other drivers. Also, if you see someone speeding, let them pass. It's not worth engaging in a speed contest.
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of getting annoyed by speeders.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's safer to just let them go.
Exactly. And another big one, resist the urge to honk your horn unless it's absolutely necessary. We've all been there stuck behind someone at a green light who's not paying attention. But laying on the horn just escalates the situation and can trigger anger in both drivers.
Oh, so true. It's like a chain reaction of negativity. Speaking of negativity, what about when a collision actually happens? What's the best way to handle that situation without letting road rage take over?
That's a crucial point. Even if you're the most zen driver in the world, accidents can happen.
Hmm.
And if you're already feeling stressed or rushed, it can be tempting to let those emotions take over. But the key is to stay calm. And if it's safe to do so, stay in your vehicle. Don't escalate the situation by confronting the other driver aggressively.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. It's about prioritizing safety and de-escalation, even if you're feeling frustrated.
Precisely. Now let's bring this back to the topic of insurance. From an insurance perspective, are there any proactive steps drivers can take to either mitigate risks or potentially lower their premiums, especially with this growing concern of road rage incidents?
That's a great question. It makes me think of those dash cams that seem to be everywhere these days. I've always wondered if they actually make a difference when it comes to insurance.
They definitely can. While dash cams might not directly lower your premiums in every case, they provide invaluable evidence in the event of an accident, especially one involving road rage. Having that footage can help determine fault and protect you from false claims, which can be incredibly helpful when dealing with insurance companies.
So it's like having an impartial witness right there in your car.
Yeah.
That's pretty reassuring, especially given the rise in road rage incidents we've been discussing.
Exactly. And speaking of proactive measures, have you ever considered taking a safe driving course?
You know, I've heard of those defensive driving courses, but I've never really looked into them. Do insurance companies actually see that as a positive thing?
In many cases, yes. Completing a recognized safe driving course shows insurance companies that you're committed to improving your skills and awareness on the road. Some companies view this favorably and may offer discounts on your premiums as a result.
So not only can these courses help you become a safer driver, they can actually save you money on insurance too. It's a win-win. Are there any other proactive measures drivers can take when it comes to their insurance?
That's a really good point. While standard auto insurance policies cover a wide range of situations, you can always talk to your provider about additional coverage options or endorsements. That might be relevant to road rage scenarios. For instance, some policies offer coverage for personal belongings damaged or stolen during a road rage incident, or even coverage for legal expenses if you need to pursue legal action. It's all about understanding your options and choosing what works best for you.
That makes me think. As we get closer to that dreaded car insurance renewal period, should we all be reviewing our coverage more carefully? Especially in light of this conversation about road rage and its potential impacts, it never hurts to be prepared, right?
Absolutely. It's always a good idea to review your coverage periodically, especially as your renewal date approaches. And with road rage incidents on the rise, it's definitely worth having a conversation with your insurance provider just to make sure you have the right protection in place.
You know, we've talked a lot about individual drivers and their choices, but what are the bigger picture? Could things like road design or traffic flow or even city planning play a role in road rage? Is it all on the individual, or does the environment we drive in contribute to those feelings of frustration and aggression?
That's such a great point. Road rage isn't just an individual issue. It's also influenced by systemic factors. Think about it. Poorly designed intersections, constant construction, a lack of clear signage. These can all contribute to driver stress and frustration.
It's almost like they're setting us up to lose our cool, right? If you're already feeling rushed or stressed, those little annoyances on the road can really push you over the edge.
Exactly. And studies have shown that factors like traffic density and commute times can actually correlate with increased aggression behind the wheel. So while personal responsibility is essential, we also need to consider the role that infrastructure and urban planning play in creating an environment that's conducive to safe and courteous driving.
It makes you wonder if there are things that cities could be doing to kind of mitigate road rage, like improving traffic flow or investing in driver education programs.
Absolutely. It's all about taking a holistic approach, you know? Addressing road rage requires a multifaceted strategy that includes both individual responsibility and those systemic improvements. We need to empower drivers to make better choices, while also creating a rate environment that minimizes stress and promotes safety.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the shocking statistics on road rage in Ontario to those practical tips for staying safe and even some of those insurance insights. Hopefully this deep dive has given you a better understanding of this growing problem and ways to protect yourselves both physically and financially. And remember, staying calm behind the wheel not only protects you and others on the road, it can also save you a lot of money in the long run.
And don't forget, as your car insurance renewal approaches, take a moment to reflect on your driving habits. Consider if there are any small changes you can make to be a safer and more courteous driver. Every little bit helps.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into road rage in Ontario. Until next time, drive safe and stay cool out there.